Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Wednesday the 13th of May 2020. I'm using the Glastonbury Tarot for today's reading. Let's have a look at what these cards want you to be aware of for the day. So I'm just going to shuffle them around a little bit. These readings are for all signs of the zodiac. They're for everyone who watches. I just tune into the energy and ask the cards what the day is going to be about. And the cards then have a little say about what you can do to make the most of it. We've got the Two of Swords in reverse, equilibrium, upheaval, so imbalance. The Queen of Swords, the ability to make tough decisions. And finally, the Chariot, the barge of Avalon. How beautiful. Where I live in Glastonbury, in the town here. And this, that is in the mist and where the water is, those are called the summer lands. Back in the day, before they built the dam in Bridgewater, this whole area was underwater in the winter. So it dried up in the summer lands, in the summer, hence the summer land. And that was back in the olden day. And this was known as the Holy Isle of Glastonbury, because it was the only place that was above water here. And it's where all those stories of Avalon and the Lady of the Lake, Excalibur, where all those stories come from. Okay, so first of all, the Two of Swords, this way around, we've got a man who's glowing in the universe. He's holding two swords to his chest in a way kind of shutting himself off. And he's closed his eyes. And this way around, he's not looking outside of himself for answers. He knows from within. So it's a different take on this card. Usually it's really having no idea of what's going on and being defensive. It can also mean hope. In this deck, it's equilibrium and balance. And because he's up in the universe, I would say spiritual equilibrium and balance. It's in reverse. So his eyes open. Yes, there is a sense of imbalance, but the eyes open, you look at yourself, you're able to see and get a sense of what's going on inside you. Swords, an air element, the element to do with communication, making decisions, clarity. 1 and 2 is a relationship. So there's a lot of thinking going on. There's a lot of evaluation. The Queen of Swords is the expert at that. She's able to evaluate whether something is a comedy or a tragedy. What she says goes. She's the boss. So the Queen of Swords says we're going to celebrate this in our culture, and therefore that certain aspect is celebrated, and we're going to abhor and get rid of this. She has the power to do that. She is someone who is a just ruler. She wants happiness, and she's looking for a sense of balance and fairness and equilibrium. So we've got both cards pointing towards balance, and then we're talking about the Chariot, which in this deck, for some reason, is a canoe, which also can be easy to tip over and bring into an imbalance. Usually it's a chariot with two sphinxes carrying it. Here we've got a young guy or woman precariously standing in this boat, just magically being moved. So the Chariot is success, and here it's joy and a sense of fulfillment by visiting the Holy Isle and getting what you want, getting what your nature has told you to discover. And it's about coming back to your true self. Blue and green should never be seen, but in this deck, it's really nice. It's all blue and green today, and yellow. Blue and green is feelings and your true nature, which is revealed. Oh, and I'm being told that you may be confronted with an image of yourself or a narrative that is being created around yourself. So if you're the black sheep in the family and everyone's like, oh, there goes Joanne again with her crystal stuff and her psychic healing rubbish. Oh yeah, the new ager, here we go. You know, if that's the families especially have a way of creating this dialogue and putting you in a category, and people do that very quickly. I took a counseling course a couple of years ago, about 8 years ago, and we did a lot of fun exercises. And one of the first exercises was just to see how quickly people judge each other and how quickly they're able to compartmentalize a person in the sense of their importance even. It's quite, as human beings, we can be quite clear and quite harsh and lacking emotion. And here we have an emotional imbalance, feeling like something doesn't sit right with you, and you see that now. And you're making decisions that may be overly punitive and that don't lead to a happy ending. What is important is that you lay off instead. Because yes, if you do see that version of yourself that you don't like, then what are you going to do? You're going to chop it up into a million pieces? No, you're going to embrace it and come to terms with it. You're not going to betray yourself. Look at her dress here. You can see through it. There's a meadow there. It's sunlight. So to me, this is like a doorway, an escape into happiness, into this other world in the tree. Looks like a doorway. Oh, how did I miss that? And she is the doorkeeper. She's got the sun here, identity, all these stars. She understands her power and her ability to give joy and happiness to other people, or to give them the freedom to decide for themselves. Wow, it's really amazing. So you get clarity, you're able to see what's going on in your life, you see how you stand in your own way and how you can naturally embrace that or transform it into something that brings you joy and fuels your journey. The moon is at the tip of this boat. The moon is the mother. It's what you feel. It's how you heal. I didn't mean that to rhyme. But yes, it's about nurturing yourself, listening to your feelings, covering yourself in things that are naturally protective. And instead of disempowering yourself by saying, I don't like this about me, I can see that now, and chopping it away, like chopping up one of the roots of the tree, you're only cutting your own nose off to spite your face. It makes no sense. Instead, if you see something about yourself that you love or that you don't love, what are you going to do? You can't you can't amputate parts of your personality, unfortunately, right? And no, it's not unfortunate, because we have to come to terms with what we've been given. And we can change. And today, if we can find a doorway into this magical natural kingdom, which is us, imagine this giant tree growing within you, this tree of life, always being inside of you. If you can open a doorway to look at all the stars that are blinking inside of the tree, you know what you can focus on and what you can use to kind of forge a way that is happy and that's magical and that takes care of you in the process without being so consistently hard. And by hard, I mean critical, excessively sober, to the point of just lay off. Nothing changes through self-criticism, in my experience. When I criticize myself and I'm like, oh, I'm so useless, and why haven't I done this, and I'm too slow, and someone else would have been able to do it. I'm not someone else. I am me, and you are you, and we're all dealing with the stuff that we've got. And getting on your own case about something isn't going to make it better. The only thing that's going to make it is by embracing it. So don't see this as your arms crossed. See this as him giving himself a hug, getting rid of his swords, letting them fall away, and being kind to the self. So he manifests him living a wonderful life, and only you can decide which way you want to go. And she's dressed in blue. So it's all through feeling rather than thinking. Okay, I get angry sometimes. That's something I'm not going to nurture, and I'm going to try and transform that. So it's something that I'm going to take from a tragedy and make it into a comedy. No one's perfect. I mean, that's such a cliche, but we aren't perfect. If you think that you have to be 100% healed to heal someone else or to be of service to someone else, yeah, forget it. You'll never do anything. Embrace what you've got. Don't immediately hop on it and say, no, bad, how dare you. Say, okay, we're seeing what we're seeing. We've got what we've got. I accept myself as best I can in the here and now. Take a breath and say, all right, we're going to deal with this, but not only are we going to deal with the feelings and the natural sense of progress that we've got today, we're going to thrive and not just survive. Today, you're going to make the best out of anything that comes your way. So whether you're on top of the world right now or whether you are facing an eviction notice, it's your feelings that matter, because that's where your strength lies. It's covered by that green. So as long as you stick to your feelings today, the world will follow. It's a day of instant manifestation. And the power comes from the feeling side of things, not so much the thinking. But again, that term I used earlier, if it doesn't sit right with you, that's something that only you will know. If you find £500 on the street and it sits right with you that you pick that up and walk off with it, or you feel like you ought to hand that into the local council, only you can decide that. No one can decide that for you. And also, if you feel like you make the wrong decision today, again, don't beat yourself up about it. Learn from it, embrace it, and then you'll be a success. Today, you can turn it around today. You can turn things around mid-conversation and say, oh, hang on a minute. I want to backtrack a little bit. And actually, the thing that I was disagreeing with you about, you've changed my mind. I agree with you now. So we don't need to argue about this. I'm on board. You're always free to change your mind, and there's no shame in admitting that you've made a mistake or that you're wrong. Number-wise, yeah, I want to repeat that. There is no shame and guilt in admitting that you've done something wrong. The way forward is to learn from it, not to ignore it and bury it so that you make the same mistake again. It's to open your eyes, to see it, to transform it into something that brings you joy. The mistakes you make that go, oof, I really feel that. You know, when you think of something and you just cringe, it's proof that you cared. You really tried your best. So lay off yourself. 2 and a chord card. 1 is 3. 3 and 7 is 10. 10 is 1 in numerology, and 1 is about the pioneer, being alone, being responsible for yourself. We've got 3 very different characters, and each one is on their own journey. So as different as you may feel you are, as special as you think you are, as excluded as you may feel, we all feel that way. You're just as special as the rest of us. Welcome to the club. So do as you please, have fun, and be nice to yourself. You're already taking loads of action. You're doing the best you can. Pat yourself on the shoulder and say, do you know what? You're trying the best you can. Thank you. I love you. I do mirror work. I look in the mirror and I still say, I love you. I love you. Thank you for taking such good care of me, despite myself sometimes. And I say that to myself in my lowest moments. That's when I need it. When everything's hunky-dory, you're off cruising on the canoe. Turn it into a speedboat. But it's when things are difficult, that's when you have to be nice to yourself, not when everything's great, because then you're celebrating with yourself. Anyway, that's what I get for the day. Have an amazing time. If you'd like a personal reading, please, can't speak, please get in touch via the website. It's gregoryscott.com. If you like this reading, please hit subscribe and share the video online, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.